Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Joe Handy, the Android Authority App Guy, and welcome back to Android Apps Weekly. This is episode number 158, so let's get right into those headlines. Hooya has officially quit the hardware business and is now a publishing company. So far, they have published 3 games, all of them exclusive to the Nvidia Shield console. None of them are overly amazing or anything, and they tend to feature retro graphics and rock-steady gameplay. Still, it'll be interesting to see what Hooya comes out with over the coming months and years. Many of us still miss Android's first really good gaming console. Sunrise Calendar closed its doors for good this last week. We knew it was coming after they announced as much a few months ago, but now it's officially dead and gone. The good news though is that many of the more unique features are currently being added to Microsoft's Outlook. It's obviously not the same thing, but the memory of Sunrise will live on in another application. You can expect these new features to hit Outlook sooner or later. The new Nexus launcher that was going around a week or two ago is now called Pixel Launcher. On top of essentially confirming what we already knew about the Nexus name change, the app now appears to work slightly better than before. The calendar icon now shows the actual date and it seems to be a little bit smoother. It's downloadable now if you want it. Jide has released a new Android emulator called Jide Remix OS Player. The basic concept is that you run Jide Remix OS on Microsoft Windows and then use it to run Android apps and games. It works similarly to most Android emulators, except for these guys have a history of doing things the right way. It's about the only emulator that uses Android Marshmallow, and it's also completely free to use. YouTube is apparently preparing to enter the social media space. A blog post from Google indicated that content creators will be able to post things like text-only content, GIFs, live video, and other types of content that you normally don't see on YouTube. The idea is to give creators a better method to communicate with subscribers without having to go to other sites like Facebook and Twitter. It's only available to a few people right now to test it out. Moviz is a navbar audio visualizer application that shows a visualizer on your navbar. The visualizer does react to the music that you play on your device, and it's a pretty fun little thing to look at. It features the ability to customize the visualizer to your specifications, and it should also work on things like video apps such as YouTube. There are even options to have it work on apps that hide the navbar, such as Spotify. It's free to download with a pro version going for $1.99. Moviz isn't necessarily useful, but it looks pretty awesome. VG Vulkan Beta is actually just the popular MOBA Vainglory, but with some Vulkan baked in. As many of you know, Vulkan API is a new addition into Android Nougat, and the VG Vulkan Beta may well be the very first game to use it. It's exactly the same as the MOBA that we all know and love already, so the gameplay experience and mechanics don't change at all. It's had some compatibility issues with devices that are supposed to have Vulkan support, but otherwise it works pretty well. Google Cast Preview is kind of like a beta, except that it's meant to be more stable. It essentially gives people the opportunity to try new features in Google's Chromecast platform before they're available to everybody else. To activate it, you simply need to allow for the preview email in the notification settings and then follow the instructions in the email that you get. It should be relatively bug-free since it's not meant to be a beta release. In any case, it's completely free to use and totally worth a shot. Animation Throwdown is a card collecting game. In this title, you'll be able to collect cards that feature many popular cartoon characters, and then you'll duel it out against other players for supremacy. The game manages to keep the quirky humor from each series intact, and there are some mechanics that allow you to combine cards for stronger attacks. It's essentially a massive amount of fan service for fans of these TV shows, but it's free to download and it has a ton of things to do. It's totally worth a shot. DeskDoc is one of the more unique Android apps that we've seen released this year. You'll be able to use this application to share your mouse between your PC and your Android device. The setup is relatively easy and you should have it up and running in just a few minutes. Once it's all set up, it'll be like your Android device is just another monitor on your setup, and then you can move your mouse right on over to it. It's compatible with devices running Android 4.1 and up, and there is no root required. The Pro version goes for $5.49 and it contains some extra features. For even more Android apps and games news, check out this week's newsletter, which is linked in the video description below. There you'll find the latest releases, deals, news, and updates that we didn't have time for in this video. To sign up for the newsletter, just head on over to the written companion, which is also linked in the video description below, and fill out that form there. We send out the newsletter every Sunday, or you can check out the latest news even faster using the Android Authority app. And that about does it for this one, folks. If you want to keep watching, we have an excellent comparison between the LG V10 and the LG V20 linked up there on the screen and also linked in the video description below. Don't forget to sign up for that newsletter and keep it tuned to Android Authority because we are your source for all things Android. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a wonderful day.